Hey there, guys. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Britton Frost. I'm an esoteric philosophical writer and personality consultant. I do personality readings for personal growth, relationships, and business, and a wide variety of applications in those categories. I combine natal chart astrology with Myers-Briggs and the Big Five system to give you the most concise and complete personality reading anywhere I've found on the internet. You can check my blog and my services in the link below at my website at overthoughtandunderstated.com. Today I am doing a response to a video that I watched that was released a few weeks ago by Doughty. Aaron Doughty is a very popular YouTuber. He has almost 1.2 million subscribers, and he mainly specializes in, I would say, motivational speaking and pop spirituality. Talks a little bit about consciousness, sort of on a surface level and everything. And I want to make clear before I get into the meat of this discussion that I think overall his message is good. His intentions are good. I think a lot of people have likely taken a lot of positive things from his content, but his content, philosophically speaking, is very surface level. And there are, a number of logical contradictions sprinkled throughout his reasoning. So that's what I'm addressing in this video for a particular one of his videos. And the link to that video is below in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. Another one of the problems in general is that he comes off as philosophically nihilistic. Nihilism is a school of thought in philosophy, and it is one that doesn't really hold. And so I'll get into that in a second. But anyway, the claim of this particular video that I'm critiquing is that we should let go of control of the outcome. Let go of controlling trying to produce an outcome, really. And let things flow and unfold as they naturally should. So there's this kind of appeal to naturalism here. And I actually agree with that, From a moral perspective, this seems correct to me. In moral philosophy, there are two main schools of thought. There's deontology and consequentialism. Consequentialism says that the end justifies the means, and that we can decide whatever it is we want as our end, as our goal, and whatever it takes for us to achieve that goal is justified. That's consequentialism in a nutshell. I don't believe in that moral philosophy. I think that when we are left to our own devices regarding, choosing what is right, choosing what is true, then it follows that we are attempting to control our environment to conform with that goal. And that never really ends well. On the other hand, we have deontology, that we act in accordance with what is true, with what is good, on the basis of truth and goodness for itself, and that we let what is meant to be unfold before us. There's a lot of nuance in deontology, not getting too deep into the philosophy today, but that's basically what it says. And so that's the school of thought that I like. And I think that's where Aaron would probably place himself as well, but there are some contradictions in his argument that kind of put him in the middle ground between these two schools of thought. So I agree with his claim. I just don't agree with the evidence he uses to support it. The first thing that he uses to support it is that he says that nothing has intrinsic meaning, and that we create our own meaning for things. Well, the first problem here is that he appeals to a textbook definition of the word meaning. He goes on maybe the Webster's Dictionary app on his phone, looks up the definition of the word meaning, and then uses that as justification for the claim that meaning intrinsically does not exist as present in objects in us as beings. So he's actually appealing to an external meaning outside of himself in order to justify his claim that meaning, that there is no intrinsic meaning. So that's a contradiction. The overarching philosophy that argument appeals to is relativism. And the main problem with relativism is in this example. If someone says that truth is relative, well, you ask them, is that a truth claim? How do you justify the statement that truth is relative if we can just decide our own meaning? So it's self-refuting, doesn't work. The second thing is that the definition of meaning that he brings up is that meaning is the significance or relevance of a relationship between two things. So he says that things don't intrinsically have meaning, but the relationship between two things does have meaning. So the problem here is that a relationship is a kind of thing. No, it's not a physical object, but it does have its place in reality. I would argue at a higher degree of reality than a mere object. Now, I do in some sense agree that a mere fact does not have intrinsic meaning. A fact requires context, application, human intention applied to it in order to have some meaning in a relationship to something else. But to say that nothing has intrinsic meaning is to disregard a relationship as a type of thing at all. Of course, this isn't true. It's just a different type of thing than a mere fact, than a mere physical object, right? So if nothing has meaning, well, it can't follow that a relationship has meaning because a relationship is a type of thing. Next thing, a connection, a relationship ties two things together, right? And there is also a presupposition, I think that Aaron would agree with here, that it is intrinsic to all things that they are connected to all other things, right? So if part of our existence as singular, autonomous beings is that, no man is an island, that we do sort of need others to exist, to flourish, for our lives to have meaning, to build relationships, and that's where meaning is. And it's intrinsic to us as social beings that we are connected to all other people and things. So in that sense, we do, in a singular way, have meaning also. It's not just in our relationships. So those are the first two things, that nothing has intrinsic meaning, kind of dispelled of that. And then the definition of meaning, even a definition of a word is a thing in itself that has a meaning, right? A definition implies a meaning, points to a meaning in something. Anyway, the third thing is that you cannot do what Aaron says in his claim, let go of control and decide your own meaning, right? When you decide your own meaning, you're taking a consequentialist moral position, and you're, by definition, trying to control the world to conform to that goal that you have set. So those two, that's a very basic contradiction that he states. You cannot both let go and decide your own meaning and act toward that meaning. I would say, in response to that, instead of deciding your own meaning, you should just let go, but know yourself, right? And that's where my work comes in personality studies. Very important to know yourself, to understand that blueprint of sort of how you operate. Use that as your grounding for acting authentically, for moving through life in an authentic way and toward something that is more meaningful, right? To let go, I agree. We should let go of control of all things that we cannot control, which, by the way, is most things. To let go is to allow what is meaningful to unfold naturally, as it should before you. And then you go toward that. It's not something we consciously decide and then aim our actions toward. That always ends in having to learn some kind of lesson and then going back and starting from square one, you know? And the problem with setting a conscious goal and then trying to make the world conform to you rather than you submitting to reality as it is and to yourself as you naturally are on a deep, innate personality level, is that expectation becomes the main focal point of your action and decision making. Expectation is the real killer. If you expect things, it's implied that you're not being present, that you're not going with the flow, So I think expectation is really this thing that we have to let go of. If we can let go of expecting the world to work in our favor and rather have faith that we are one with the world and that the world will act with us rather than for us. And if we know ourselves, if we have a certain degree of self-awareness, and if we're on the right sort of spiritual path, if we orient our words, our actions toward what is true, toward what is meaningful and best for ourselves, but also best for all other people involved and not involved, real and hypothetical, past, present, and future, only then can we live a life that is truly meaningful, whether or not it's the meaning that we expected. So anyway, my services do help with this. I give lectures, seminars, and personal consulting in philosophy and logic and critical thinking. I have a variety of resources on my website at overthoughtandunderstated.com. And I also my personality readings are quite good. They're quite concise. I combine natal chart astrology with Big Five theory and Myers-Briggs system to give you a concise, complete reading. And this is, one of the best tools you can use to gain that level of self-awareness that is crucial for living authentically and for realizing, not deciding, what is meaningful and true for you and what will, as a consequence of that, produce the best results in your career, in your relationships, and in your life. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. And I do recommend Aaron Doughty on a certain level, not talking down to him at all. Just wanted to point out a couple philosophical contradictions in his reasoning, but I think his overall message is good. So check him out and see some more of my content if you enjoyed this video at overthoughtandunderstated.com. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check out my blog. Follow me on Instagram. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I've been Britton Frost. Cheers.